gives a sermon. And what his disciples are, they're there and they're kind of learning what it means to be a disciple. So when you talk about discipleship, if you want to be a disciple, Jesus actually talks about this is what a disciple of Christ looks like. Matthew chapter 5, he gives it in a sermon form. Do you guys know what a disciple is? You guys here might, and if you guys are in church, you guys probably know what a disciple might be. You might have heard of the word disciple, but this is what a disciple was back then. Okay, back then there would be these teachers called rabbis. Not necessarily pastors, but rabbis. They were people that knew the Bible inside out. They had it memorized. From Genesis all the way to Malachi, they memorized it. I tried memorizing Genesis 1. After, in the beginning, I was like, all right, I'm done. Right? But it's a difficult book to read, to memorize. But rabbis, they had it memorized. Not only did they have it memorized, but they would be able to quote the Bible anytime they wanted. Like Leviticus 3, verse 22, they'd be like, this is something about misconduct or something like that. And a disciple was someone who would follow a rabbi. So, and they call it that they would follow in the dust of the rabbi. So wherever the rabbi would set foot in, a lot of times disciples would follow their footprints. You guys ever do that before? Like I used to do that when I was little. With my dad, he'd walk through the snow, and then I would, like his feet were monstrous compared to his, so I try to, you guys ever try to put your feet into your parents' feet? You guys ever do that before, or is it just me? You can have snow in Florida. On the beach, maybe doing the sand, right? You guys ever do that before? Yeah, so disciples, what they would do is they would do what the rabbi would do. So for example, when the rabbi ate, the disciples ate. When the rabbi went to sleep, the disciples went to sleep. When the rabbi sat, the disciples would sit, right? And they would follow everything that they would do. Primarily because they were trying to mimic and follow everything that the rabbi did. You guys ever have someone that, and we do this all the time, believe it or not, as much as we feel like and want to be independent and individualistic, you actually, believe it or not, are not, right? And I can tell by your language. For example, this word lit, L-I-T. For some reason, that word, which has like no meaning except in like the Urban Dictionary world, right? I hear it while I'm working out. Yo, man, the way that you lift those are lit. What? That party was lit. What? What does that even mean? It was lit, right? You know, that weed was lit. Like, did you light it? Right? Anyways, but who's ever said that word before? Okay. Right? All the time. Or I've heard this before. You ever be in a conversation, at the end of the conversation, you just say still? Still. I'm like, still what? It makes no sense. Yo, I went to that party, but it was all good still. Right? You guys ever heard something like that before? Who's ever done that before? Makes no sense. But for some reason you say it. Right? Or, this is how I know you guys follow things. And you guys ever do this before? Some of you guys are anime fans? Whoever watches anime? Okay. You guys are anime fans. So you'll hear about an animation that comes out, right? What was the one that just came out on Netflix? The second season of, not Voltron.
It's cool if I watch it.
Anyways, I heard about Voltron. No, it took forever for the second season to come out. And so someone talked about the second season, I was like, I gotta watch it now. Everybody else started to watch it. I started watching The Office because of Tony.
Yes.
Right? We follow people. You guys ever go online and you're on Instagram and you start following people? Who's ever done that before? You follow people on Instagram, you follow people on Facebook, you follow people. We all follow people, we all mimic people. We all have, even in artists, believe it or not, artists, you guys know different designs, and you sometimes try to mimic certain designs. Is that correct? Yes. Here's a reality. That when you want to follow something, you will pay close attention to it. Music world too. Where's Tevin? Tevin, you follow certain musicians, don't you? Certain artists, for sure. Who follows certain artists on Instagram or basketball players, right? We all follow people, and in the process of following them, we start learning more about them. Now here's the reality. When we talk about Jesus and his disciples would follow Jesus. And they would follow everything that he said, everything that he did, the way that he did it. Right? What does LeBron do before a game? Does anybody know? What does he do? He'll do it tonight when they beat the Raptors. Right? He gets this. Listen. Alright, let's be realistic. He gets chalk and he throws it up in the air. Right? You guys ever see that? LeBron? Right? That's the LeBron signature.
They're gonna lose, okay? Cavs are one of the best teams. We're one of the worst.
Alright, anyways, here's the reality. Is that we all follow, in the same way, disciples, they would follow Jesus. Who's ever followed someone and done something that they did before? Who's ever done that? We do it in fashion. We do it with our personality. We do it with our language. We do it in all different senses. My question that I want to pose today is, how can we follow Christ? How can we follow Christ? If there was like a Instagram follow button, how would you follow Christ? And in Matthew chapter 5, it will share that with you. Okay? It's called the Sermon on the Mount. It's called the Sermon on the Mount. I'm going to read this to you guys. It comes from Matthew chapter 5. Once this thing starts loading. Alright? Matthew chapter 5, verse 1. It says this. Seeing the crowds, he went up on the mountain, and when he sat down, his disciples came to him. And he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, he says, these are called the Beatitudes. He says, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. He said, blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, or humble, for they shall inherit the earth. We're just going to go through 3 today. He said, blessed are the poor in spirit. I'm going to give you a line by John Calvin, who's one of the greatest theologians to ever live. He said this, he only who is reduced to nothing in himself and relies on the mercy of God is poor in spirit. Let me say it again. He only who is reduced to nothing in himself and relies on the mercy of God is poor in the spirit. Is poor in the spirit, okay? So, it's like this. The question really is how much do you trust God? I'm going to show this clip of Finding Nemo, okay? I love the movie Finding Nemo. Who's ever seen Finding Nemo? Me. Who has not seen it?
I've watched part of it.
We should watch that the all-nighter.
Alright, let me set the scene, okay? For Keaton. The blue fish, Dory, she has short-term memory loss. Okay? Short-term memory loss. So, they're at this point where they gotta decide whether or not to go through the middle of this cave thing that has like fish bones in it, or go over. Marlin, the clownfish, Keaton, pay close attention. The clown. It's the orange and white one. Alright?
Oh, I thought it was bluefish.
So this is why you fell asleep in the movie. Alright? He says, no man, we're not going through there. We're going over it. And there's a trust issue. Alright? There's a trust issue. I'm gonna show that to you guys. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, but I really think we should swim through.
And I'm really done talking about this. Over we go.
Come on, trust me on this.
Trust you.
Yes, trust. It's what friends do.
Look, something shiny.
Where?
Oh, it just swam over the trench. Come on, we're following.
Okay. Boy, sure is clear up here.
Exactly. And look at that. There's the current. We should
die?
You wanted to go through the trench.
I shall call him Squishy, and he shall be mine, and he shall be my Squishy. Come here, Squishy. Come here, little Squishy. Ow!
Dory, that's a jellyfish!
Bad Squishy. Bad Squishy.
Shoot, Dad! Come here, let me see it.
Don't touch it. Don't touch
I'm not
it.
gonna touch it. I just wanna look.
Hey, how come it didn't sting you?
It did. It's just that here's the deal. I live in the Anemone, and I'm used to these kind of stings. Come here. Ow, ow, ow. It doesn't look bad. You're gonna be fine. But now we know, don't we, that we don't want to touch these again. Let's be thankful this time it was just a little one. Ah! Don't move. This is bad, Dory.
Hey, what's this? Boing, boing,
Dory!
boing, boing. You
Dory!
can't catch me.
Don't bounce on the tops. They will not sting you. The tops don't sting you. That's it.
Two in a row, beat that.
Dory, all right, just a minute. I'm right here.
A game.
Yes.
Ah, I love games. Pick me.
All right, here's the game. Whoever can hop the fastest out of these jellyfish wins.
Okay.
Rules.
Okay.
You can't touch the tentacles. Only the tops.
Something about tentacles. Got it. On your mark, get
Oh,
set.
wait. That's something about what it's all about. Wait. Dory.
Gotta go fast if you want to win.
Look, Dory. Look.
Boing, 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 boing.
Wait a minute. Look. Dory. So, how did you get that? That's what we're doing. We're having fun at the same time. I can do this. Just be careful.
Yeah, careful I don't make you cry when I win.
Oh, I don't think so.
You can't fight evolution. I was built for speed.
The question is, Dory, are you hungry?
Hungry?
Because you're about to eat my bubbles! The clownfish is the winner! Woohoo! We did it! Look at us! Dory? Oh no. Dory! 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 Dory!
Am I disqualified?
No, you're doing fine. You're actually winning. But you gotta stay awake. Where does Pea Sherman live?
P. Sherman. Oh, big way. Sydney.
That's it! Stay awake! Stay awake! Stay awake! Stay awake!
P. Sherman. 42.
All right. Thank you.
I'm sorry, but I really.
Here's the thing, okay? I love that video, by the way. Keaton.
What?
Watch the whole thing. I got beef with you now, bro. All right. Here's the thing. There's this moment where Marlin's like, no, I'm not going to trust this forgetful fish. And everybody in the movie theater's like, dude, don't go over top, go through. You guys ever who was in the movie theater that said that? Like, come on, listen to Dory. Is it just Callum and I? All right. Here's the reality is this. I find that we often treat God like Dory. We think that God is a forgetful God, that he's not a very competent God, that he's a God that doesn't really exist God, he's a God that is not really their God. And as a result, who do we usually trust instead? Ourselves. We usually end up trusting ourselves instead. And so, when it talks about being a disciple, if you're thinking about being a disciple of God, of Jesus, the first thing he says is, stop trusting yourself and trust in God. Stop trusting yourself and follow in the steps of Christ. Stop trusting your heart and your mind and start trusting the way of the rabbi, which is Jesus. Right? Blessed are the poor in spirit. He's not saying that you should be poor in spirit, but what he's saying is have less of yourself and more of Jesus. To trust more in Christ. Second thing he says is this, blessed are those who mourn. Doesn't that sound funny? Blessed are those who mourn. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. If you're going to translate this in another way, it says this. Verse can also say, happy are those who are unhappy. Is that weird? Happy are those who are unhappy. So this is what it's really saying. Hypothetically, okay? Hypothetically, for those that might not believe in Christianity, that might believe in something else, but let's say hypothetically, that, well, and for us Christians, realistically, if Christianity is real, that everything that Jesus talked about was legit, and everything that he talked about, well, dying on the cross, forgiveness of sins, all that stuff mattered. Okay? If it's real for you, good. If it's hypothetical for you, that's fine. Right? Let's say all that stuff was real. Okay? And it actually happened. And people die. People die every single day. Right? I don't know what the percentage of people that die every single day, but there are people who die every single day, whether per second, per minute, per whatever, whether by starvation, whether by natural death, whether it be by suicide, whatever. People die every single day. Okay? And when he says, blessed are those who mourn, what he's really saying is this: blessed are those who actually care whether or not other people know who Jesus Christ is. Blessed are those who care whether or not other people have heard about Jesus that never heard about Christ. When he says, what does a disciple look like? People that care about those who don't know who Jesus Christ is a disciple of Christ. If you care genuinely, when you go to school and you're like, man, I don't know if this person knows who Jesus Christ is, that matters to me. If that matters to you, you are a disciple of Christ. If that matters to you, when you go into work, for you guys who are leaders, if you go into work and you're like, man, I have no idea who my coworker, whether or not they go to church or not, whether they believe in God or not, but they matter to me. I'm going to be praying for them. They're going to be on my mind every single day, and I'm going to be worried for them if they were to die today, because it's possible. Who's had a close friend die in their lives before? I have. I had two. In high school, one committed suicide, the other one died of a brain aneurysm. They both died, and the question that I had was, did they know who Christ was? Did they know? In my lifetime, I ask myself that question all the time. My neighbor, we talk to them all the time. And I worry about whether or not they know who Christ is in their life. For a disciple worries about those who don't know who Christ is. But this is what Jesus says: blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. What does Christ mean by that? What he says is this: you will be comforted knowing that it's not by your strength that they are going to know who Jesus Christ is, but by God's strength. And you will be able to trust in God for that. Third thing he says is this: if you want to know what a disciple looks like, he says, blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are the meek. We're also saying like this: blessed are the humble. All right? We're even twist it a little bit and say this: cursed are those who are proud. Okay? It says this: blessed are the humble or the meek, for they will inherit the earth. What does a humble person look like? What do you think a humble person looks like? That's not hypothetical. Yeah, talk.
Somebody that is more interested in people.
Definitely. Anybody else? Adrian. See, I can tell now. Now let's read. Adrian. You guys want to say?
I think that's what we need.
Oh, that's what it looks like. Okay. Yeah. Can you ever seen somebody and they might not say anything at all and say, man, I know that this person's a humble person. You ever see that before? I've seen this before. I've seen two separate people do the exact same thing, and you can tell who is humble and who's like not. For example, I've seen people clean the floor before, and just for some reason they'll have this smile on their face and they'll do it joyfully. And then you'll see this person like, I hate life. Why do I have to do this? Right? What do you think humility looks like? I've also seen this before. Is this humility? Yeah, I try to give to the poor. I make sure I go to the food bank every single day to help out people. Is that humility or is that pride? What is that?
Pride.
Why is that pride?
Because you're a humble person when you talk about it.
Exactly.
You just do it.
Exactly. Tara, exactly what you said. A humble person thinks more about themselves and more about others and less about themselves. Jesus says this, blessed are the humble, for they will inherit the earth. Why does he say that? Why does he say that the humble will inherit the earth? Why does he say that the humble will inherit? I know a car salesman. He doesn't sell cars anymore, but he used to work at Honda, and I bought my Honda Civic from him in 2003. Okay, 2003. And I remember buying my car, and I was talking to his manager. And she looks at my contract, and she's like, do you know the only reason I'm allowing this price, because it was ridiculous. The only reason I'm allowing this price is because he's such a good salesman. I was like, well, what makes him so good? What makes him so good that, that you're allowing this? And she said, I have no idea. He never competes with anybody. When someone comes in, he's the nicest guy in the world, and he sometimes turns people away and says, hey, you know what? I want to make sure that the car is right for you. I don't want you to pay over what you don't need to. And sometimes he'll even pay into his own commission. I don't know why he does that. But people just keep coming back. He's my number one salesman. Right? And then she says this. He's one of the most humblest salesmen I've ever had. I said, what does that look like? Well, he cares about other salesmen. So when someone comes in, he says, you know what, you should take this one. I know that you've been struggling with stuff, so why don't you take this one? He's that kind of salesman. Humility. And he ended up working his way through the ranks, became like some manager thing, just because of his humility. Humility doesn't just work in the church, it also works in the corporate world as well. I think it does. I think it does. 3 things that we learned today. There's going to be more. It's pretty heavy, so I'm not going to go into more of them, but we'll go into it in a couple weeks. 3 things is this. If you want to know what disciple looks like, it's someone who's poor in spirit, someone who mourns for those who are lost, those who are humble. Those who are humble and choose to be humble in this world. I'm going to pray with you guys. Let's pray. Father God, we're grateful that we get a chance to walk in the steps of the Rabbi. And Father, we pray, whatever that might look like for us, whether we need to trust you more, whether or not we need to care for more people in our lives, that they will be able to know who you are, or maybe it's our attitudes. Maybe it's how we treat people. Maybe it's the way that we think about ourselves first and others second. I pray that we as a fearless group will be able to walk in your footsteps, Lord. And I'm grateful for all that you do in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, guys, this is what's going to happen. Oh, yeah. Brianna wants to just share a prayer request. She just wants you guys to be praying for something that's going on in her life. I think, can I just summarize it? Is that cool? Sure. Come on.